The natural world in all its majestic power often appears to us as a grand stage for a relentless struggle. From the first light of dawn when the savannah awakens beneath a golden sky, to the hush of twilight as shadows stretch across the plains, every moment is charged with the energy of survival. It is a world governed by the ancient laws of survival, where the strong prey upon the weak, and every day is a battle for existence. The lion stalks through the tall grass, muscles rippling with anticipation, while the wildebeest herd senses danger and surges forward in a desperate bid for safety. We see the cheetah chasing the gazelle, a blur of speed and grace, the eagle swooping down from the sky, talons outstretched, to snatch its unsuspecting prey. These are the scenes that define our understanding of the wild. This is the story of nature we know so well, a narrative of competition and instinct where every creature must fight for its place in the world. The drama of predator and prey unfolds in countless ways, each more dramatic than the last. It is a world that can seem harsh and unforgiving, a constant cycle of life and death that has shaped every creature on our planet. The struggle is not limited to the hunt. It is present in every moment, from the river crossings fraught with peril to the scavengers waiting patiently for their turn. This is the truth of the wild, but it is not the entire truth. For even in the midst of this relentless contest, there are moments of peace. An antelope grazing in the soft light of dawn, a giraffe pausing to drink from a quiet pool. There is another side to this story, a quieter, more gentle narrative that is often overlooked. In the subtle gestures of companionship and care, we glimpse a different kind of wildness, one that is built on connection rather than conflict. Beneath the surface of this daily drama, there are whispers of something else entirely. In the hush between heartbeats, animals reach across the boundaries of species and instinct, forging bonds that defy explanation. There are moments of unexpected tenderness, of connections that defy all logic and expectation. A monkey gently grooms a creature not its own. A lioness nuzzles an orphaned antelope calf as if it were her own flesh and blood. These are instances where the rigid rules of nature seem to bend, where the line between predator and prey, or between vastly different species, simply fades away. In these rare moments, the wild reveals a capacity for compassion that rivals our own. These are stories of unlikely friendships and surprising adoptions, where animals show a capacity for empathy and care that we once thought belonged only to us. A dog nurses a kitten, a chimpanzee cradles a baby monkey from another species, and a duck leads a parade of orphaned goslings as if they were her own. It is in these moments that we see a different kind of survival, one that is not built on conflict, but on connection, on the simple, powerful act of one creature showing kindness to another. A wolf gently licks the face of a friend. An elephant helps an injured zebra to its feet. A dolphin supports a sick companion through the waves. These are not just charming anecdotes or happy accidents. They are windows into the inner lives of animals, revealing depths of emotion and understanding that we are only beginning to comprehend. They are profound glimpses into the complex emotional lives of animals. We see mothers grieve, friends rejoice, and companions comfort one another in times of need. They challenge our understanding of what it means to be a wild creature. Curiosity, playfulness, and even joy are not the sole domain of humans. They are woven into the fabric of animal life. Can a lioness truly love an oryx calf, the very animal she is born to hunt? Can the instinct to kill be overcome by the instinct to nurture, even for a fleeting moment? Can a pod of mighty sperm whales choose to protect a small, deformed dolphin from a different species? Can the bonds of kinship extend beyond blood, beyond species, into the realm of true compassion? The answer, as we have seen time and again, is a resounding yes. across continents and oceans, in every corner of the animal kingdom, these extraordinary connections emerge. These events force us to look deeper, to question our assumptions, and to appreciate the intricate social and emotional worlds that exist all around us, often hidden from our view. Through the lens of science and the patience of observation, we begin to unravel the mysteries of animal empathy and connection. In this exploration, we will journey across the globe, from the depths of the ocean to the heart of the African savannah, from bustling wildlife sanctuaries to quiet backyards. Every habitat holds its own stories of compassion and kinship waiting to be discovered. We will meet 10 different animals who formed bonds that science could barely explain. Their stories will challenge what we think we know about the boundaries of friendship and the possibilities of the heart. We will see how a mother's instinct can cross the species barrier, how loneliness can be soothed by the most unlikely companion, and how even the fiercest predators can possess a gentle heart. These stories reveal the universality of care, the power of comfort, and the surprising ways in which life finds connection. These stories are more than just curiosities. They are a source of wonder and hope, reminding us that compassion is a powerful force, one that echoes throughout the entire animal kingdom. In every act of kindness, in every unlikely bond, we find a reflection of our own deepest values, and a reminder that the wild is not only a place of struggle, but also a realm of extraordinary grace. In the vast, deep blue of the North Atlantic, where the endless ocean stretches beyond the horizon and sunlight dances on rolling waves, life unfolds in ways both mysterious and awe-inspiring. Here, in these immense waters, a remarkable story began to take shape. Scientists, dedicated and patient, spent countless hours observing a pod of sperm whales, giants of the deep, whose presence commands respect and wonder. These whales, some of the largest predators on Earth, are renowned for their tight-knit family groups. Their social structures are intricate, with mothers, calves and extended relatives forming bonds that can last a lifetime. Communication among them is a symphony of clicks and calls, echoing through the water, each sound carrying meaning and emotion. Their powerful hunting abilities allow them to dive thousands of meters in search of squid, their primary prey. These are creatures built for survival in the ocean's most challenging environments, formidable, intelligent and often aggressive when threatened. Sperm whales are not known for their tolerance of outsiders. Their defensive postures and displays of dominance are legendary among marine biologists. So you can imagine the researchers' astonishment when, during their observations, they noticed something truly extraordinary. Gliding alongside these colossal whales, almost dwarfed by their size, was a much smaller creature, one that did not belong to their family, nor even to their species. It was a bottlenose dolphin, instantly recognizable by its sleek body and playful movements. This dolphin, however, was not just passing by. It swam in the very heart of the whale pod, moving with them as if it were one of their own. Bottlenose dolphins are from a completely different family, smaller, faster, and known for their own complex societies. Yet this particular dolphin was different in another, more poignant way. As the scientists watched, they noticed the dolphin's spine was curved in a distinct S shape, a clear sign of scoliosis, a physical deformity that would have made it difficult, if not impossible, for the dolphin to keep up with its own kind. In the wild, such a condition is a serious disadvantage. Dolphins rely on speed and agility to hunt, evade predators, and stay with their fast-moving pods. This dolphin, likely unable to keep pace, would have been left behind, an outcast, alone in the vastness of the ocean. The open sea is unforgiving to the vulnerable. Alone, the dolphin's chances of survival would have been slim. Predators, hunger and isolation would have threatened its every moment. Yet, against all odds, here it was, alive, energetic, and not just surviving but thriving. The dolphin was not merely tolerated by the sperm whales, it was embraced. It swam at the centre of the pod, interacting playfully with its massive companions, weaving between them with surprising confidence. The sperm whales, who could have easily seen this smaller animal as prey or a nuisance, had instead chosen to accept it. They welcomed this lonely, different individual into their fold, offering it a place among their own. For days, the researchers watched, fascinated. They observed the dolphin rubbing up against the massive bodies of the whales, a gesture of trust and affection common among marine mammals. The whales responded in kind, allowing the dolphin to remain close, even in moments of rest and feeding. The whales were gentle with their small companion, often positioning themselves between the dolphin and potential threats, such as sharks. It was as if the pod had taken on the role of guardians, offering protection and companionship to the vulnerable newcomer. This was not a fleeting encounter. Over time, the dolphin became a true member of the group, integrated into the daily life of the pod. It participated in their social rituals, travelled with them across great distances, and rested alongside them in the deep. The scientists were deeply moved by what they witnessed. This incredible adoption challenged their understanding of animal behaviour. It revealed that the capacity for empathy, the instinct to care for a vulnerable individual, is not limited by species boundaries, even in the seemingly harsh and competitive world beneath the waves. What could explain such a remarkable bond? Scientists believe that the social intelligence of both species played a crucial role. Dolphins and whales are among the most intelligent animals on the planet, with complex brains and deep social lives. Perhaps the whales recognized the dolphin's vulnerability and responded with a protective instinct, or perhaps the dolphin's need for companionship resonated with the whale's own social nature. In the vast loneliness of the ocean, the need for connection may simply outweigh any differences. Whatever the reason, this story reveals a profound truth. The drive to form a family, to protect the weak, and to offer comfort to another being in need is a powerful force, one that can create the most unlikely and beautiful of alliances, even among the giants and the outcasts of the sea. In the sun-drenched plains of Kenya's Samburu National Reserve, where the golden grasses stretch endlessly beneath a vast, cloudless sky, a remarkable story unfolded, one that would challenge everything we thought we knew about the laws of nature. Here a lioness did something that seemed to go against her very nature. Pausing in the tall grass, her amber eyes filled with a depth of emotion rarely glimpsed in the wild. This lioness, known to the world as Kamunyak, meaning the Blessed One in the local Samburu language, became a legend for her extraordinary acts of compassion. Over the course of several months, she would astonish scientists, rangers and local villagers alike with a series of unprecedented adoptions. In the natural order of the savannah, the lioness is the apex predator, the ultimate hunter, and the oryx, a large, powerful antelope with striking spear-like horns, is her natural prey. Their relationship is one of tension, a perpetual contest of survival and instinct. The dance between predator and prey is as old as the African landscape itself, a cycle of life and death that has shaped the destinies of both species for millennia. Yet Kamunyak defied this fundamental law of the wild. She did not see the oryx calf as a meal, but as something entirely different, a vulnerable life in need of protection. On at least 6 separate occasions, Kamunyak adopted a baby oryx calf, treating each one not as prey, but as her own precious cub. She would nuzzle them gently, groom their soft fur, and rest beside them as if they were her own flesh and blood. The scenes that unfolded were nothing short of astonishing. The savannah, so often a stage for the harsh realities of survival, became the backdrop for a story of tenderness and unlikely companionship. Kamunyak would gently nudge the calf, encouraging it to stand and walk, and lick it clean with the same care she would show her own cubs. Her every action radiated a fierce, protective love. She stood guard over the fragile calf, her body a living shield against the dangers that lurked in the grass, hyenas, leopards, and even other lions. Kamunyak would place herself between the calf and any threat, even members of her own pride, who could not understand her strange devotion and saw only an easy meal. Her maternal instincts were so powerful, so overwhelming, that they completely overrode her predatory drive. The urge to nurture, to protect, to love became her guiding force. In the vulnerable oryx calf, Kamunyak saw not a target, but a helpless baby. Her heart responded with a love as deep and instinctive as any mother's. She curled her body protectively around the calf at night, her massive paws gentle as she touched its delicate frame, determined to keep it safe from all harm. This was a profound display of empathy, a lioness choosing to nurture the very animal she was born to hunt. It was a conflict of instincts, a battle between the urge to kill and the urge to care, playing out in the open savannah for all to witness. But at the heart of this beautiful bond there was a tragic problem, a problem that no amount of love could solve. As a lioness, Kamunyak could not produce the right kind of milk to feed an oryx calf. The calf would nuzzle her, searching for nourishment, but her body was not made to provide what it needed. Her body was designed to nourish lion cubs, not baby antelopes. The difference in biology was insurmountable, no matter how strong her maternal instincts. Despite her fierce protection, Kamunyak could not provide the one thing the calves needed most to survive: sustenance. She watched helplessly as the calves grew weaker, her concern etched in every line of her face. In one desperate instance, Kamunyak even allowed park rangers to approach and attempt to feed the calf with a bottle. She stood by, watching anxiously, her trust in the humans a testament to her desperation to save her adopted young. But her love, as deep and unwavering as it was, could not change the unyielding facts of biology. She was powerless to save the calves from hunger. Ultimately, her adopted calves grew weak from hunger, their tiny bodies unable to survive on affection alone. Kamunyak remained by their side, her presence a comfort in their final hours. Sometimes the calves met an even more tragic fate, killed by other lions who did not share Kamunyak's compassion. She fought bravely to protect them, but the odds were always against her. Kamunyak's story became a subject of fascination for scientists and wildlife biologists. They observed her closely, taking notes and trying to understand the powerful forces at work within her. Her behavior suggested that the hormonal urge to mother can be so overwhelming that it can temporarily suppress even the most deeply ingrained instincts, like the drive to hunt. The conflict within her was visible, torn between the predator she was born to be and the mother she longed to become. Kamunyak's story is a heartbreaking one, a testament to the fact that love alone is not always enough to overcome the harsh realities of nature. She would often be seen sitting alone after the loss of a calf, her gaze distant, her spirit heavy with grief. Yet her actions remain a powerful example of an animal's capacity for cross-species affection, a reminder that empathy and love can exist even in the most unlikely of places. Kamunyak, the Blessed One, showed the world that even in the heart of a predator there can beat the gentle, selfless heart of a mother, a heart capable of love so profound it transcends the boundaries of species and the laws of the wild. Far from the vast, sun-baked plains of Africa, in a peaceful sanctuary nestled in California, there lived a truly extraordinary gorilla named Coco. Her story would go on to touch the hearts of millions and forever change the way we see our closest animal relatives. Coco was not just any gorilla. She became world famous for her astonishing intelligence and her groundbreaking ability to communicate with humans. Through years of patient teaching, Coco learned to use a modified form of American Sign Language, mastering over 1,000 signs and understanding even more spoken words. Her caregivers were amazed by her capacity to express complex thoughts and emotions. Coco could sign about her feelings, her desires, and even her dreams, offering us an unprecedented window into the mind and heart of another species. But perhaps the most moving example of her emotional depth was not in the words she signed, but in the love she showed for a tiny, helpless creature. For years, Coco had expressed a longing for a baby of her own. She would sign words like baby and mother, and cradle her dolls as if they were real infants. Her caregivers, hoping to fulfill her wish, first gave her a stuffed animal, but Coco showed little interest. It was clear she yearned for something more alive, something she could truly nurture. Then, on her birthday, Coco was presented with a litter of live kittens. She approached them with remarkable gentleness, her massive hands moving with the utmost care. After a moment of quiet consideration, she carefully selected a small grey and white kitten without a tail. She named him All Ball, a name she signed herself, inspired by the kitten's round, tailless appearance. From the moment she held All Ball, Coco's demeanour transformed. She cradled the kitten in her enormous arms, petting him softly, and even tried to get him to nurse as if he were her own baby. Her playtime with All Ball was a sight to behold, her massive frame moving with astonishing delicacy, always careful not to harm her tiny companion. Coco's love for All Ball was not just physical. She would sign to her caregivers about her kitten, expressing affection, concern, and even pride. She showed the world that the capacity for nurturing love, for empathy and tenderness, was not the exclusive domain of humans. The bond between the 400-pound gorilla and the tiny, fragile kitten was nothing short of astonishing. Coco was fiercely protective, always keeping a watchful eye on All Ball and showering him with affection. Her maternal instincts, long dormant, were fully awakened by the presence of her adopted baby. This remarkable relationship challenged the old stereotypes of gorillas as mere brutes, creatures defined only by their strength and aggression. Coco revealed a side of gorilla nature that was gentle, loving, and deeply emotional. She showed us that beneath their formidable exterior lies a rich inner world, full of the same desires for companionship, family, and connection that we feel. Coco's interactions with All Ball were not simply imitations of human behaviour. They were genuine, heartfelt expressions of love and care. She would gaze into the kitten's eyes, hold him close, and sign words of affection, forging a bond that transcended the boundaries of species. But this beautiful friendship was not to last. One day, tragedy struck. All Ball managed to slip out of Coco's enclosure and wandered near a road. In a heartbreaking accident, the kitten was struck and killed by a car. When her caregivers broke the news to Coco, her reaction was immediate and profound. She let out a long, mournful wail, a sound filled with unmistakable grief. She signed the words for sad, cry, and frown, her face contorted in sorrow. The depth of her mourning was clear to everyone who witnessed it. For days Coco was inconsolable. She sat alone, her posture slumped, her eyes downcast. She refused to play or interact, her grief as real and as deep as any human's. Coco's story with All Ball became a subject of scientific study and public fascination. Researchers observed her interactions, her signs, and her emotional responses, gaining invaluable insights into the emotional lives of animals. In the end, Coco's love for All Ball proved something profound, that deep, complex feelings like love, grief, and empathy are not unique to humans. They are shared by our closest animal relatives, reminding us of the powerful, unbreakable connection we share with all life on Earth. Coco's gentle soul continues to inspire us, urging us to look beyond differences and recognize the universal language of compassion. In the Sriracha Tiger Zoo in Thailand, a strange and wonderful sight could often be seen. A fully grown Bengal tigress, a magnificent and powerful predator, could be found lounging peacefully in an enclosure, but she was not alone. Cuddled up against her striped fur and even nursing from her was not a litter of tiger cubs, but a squealing, wriggling litter of piglets. This tigress, named Saimai, had become a surrogate mother to countless baby pigs. For any other tiger, a piglet would be seen as an easy meal. For Saimai, however, they were her family, and she cared for them with all the tenderness of a true mother. The reason for this unusual bond lies in Saimai's own upbringing. When she was a cub, her mother was unable to care for her. To save her, the zookeepers placed the tiny tiger cub with a surprising surrogate, a mother pig. For the first 4 months of her life, Saimai was raised by a sow, nursing alongside a litter of piglets. She grew up thinking of a pig as her mother. This early experience created a deep and lasting imprint on her mind. It reshaped her instincts, replacing the natural predator-prey relationship with a powerful family bond that would last her entire life. As an adult, Saimai's mothering instincts kicked in, but they were directed towards the animals she had grown up with. When presented with litters of orphaned piglets, she immediately accepted them as her own. She would lick them clean, allow them to nurse and protect them fiercely. Zookeepers observed that her behavior was identical to how a tigress would care for her own cubs. She was patient, gentle, and attentive to their every need. This strange family arrangement became a major attraction at the zoo, but it was more than just a spectacle. It was a powerful lesson in how early experiences can shape animal behavior. Scientists studying cases like Saimai's have learned a great deal about the flexibility of instinct and the importance of early life bonding, a phenomenon known as imprinting. Saimai's story demonstrates that the maternal instinct to nurture is a general drive that can be redirected to another species if the bond is formed at a critical young age. It shows that the lines we draw between species are not always as rigid as we think. In the right circumstances, even the most fearsome predator can learn to love an animal it was born to hunt, proving that the bonds of family can be stronger than instinct itself. Saimai's eyes, once fierce and predatory, now held a serene and gentle gaze as she watched over her adopted piglets. Zookeepers meticulously documented her behavior, noting every interaction and the profound impact of her unique upbringing. Educational exhibits were set up to teach visitors, especially children, about Saimai's extraordinary story and the lessons it held about nature and nurture. The sight of piglets playing around a watchful tigress was heartwarming and served as a reminder of the unexpected bonds that can form in the animal kingdom. Scientists presented their findings on Saimai at conferences, highlighting the broader implications for understanding animal behavior and the potential for cross-species bonding. In the end, Saimai's story is a testament to the power of love and the incredible adaptability of nature, showing that even the fiercest of creatures can find peace and companionship in the most unexpected places. The remarkable mothering ability of dogs is something many of us have witnessed firsthand. Whether it's a gentle nudge to a wandering pup, or the way a mother dog curls protectively around her litter, radiating warmth and security. But you know, their capacity for care extends far beyond their own kind. Dogs have an extraordinary ability to sense vulnerability and respond with compassion, not just to their own puppies, but to animals of all shapes and sizes. In zoos and sanctuaries around the world, domestic dogs have often been called upon to serve as surrogate mothers, for some of the world's most powerful predators, creatures that, in the wild, would be their natural adversaries. Take, for example, a heartwarming story from Kansas. Here, a gentle golden retriever became a lifeline for 3 tiger cubs, offering them a second chance at life. These cubs were abandoned by their mother shortly after birth, a situation that sadly is not uncommon in captivity, where stress and inexperience can overwhelm new mothers. Without a mother's care, the cubs' chances of survival were heartbreakingly slim. They were weak, their tiny bodies shivering, their cries echoing through the enclosure as they searched for comfort that wasn't there. The zookeepers, desperate to save the cubs, remembered the nurturing nature of dogs. They decided to take a chance, a leap of faith that would change the lives of both the cubs and the dog forever. They introduced the tiny, helpless tiger cubs to the golden retriever. Instantly her maternal instincts took over. She sniffed them gently, her body language calm and welcoming, as if she understood the gravity of the moment. She began cleaning the cubs, licking their fur with the same tenderness she showed her own puppies. She nudged them toward her belly, encouraging them to nurse alongside her litter, sharing her warmth and milk without hesitation. The cubs, sensing her acceptance, nestled close, their cries fading into contented purrs. She treated them exactly as if they were her own, never once distinguishing between her puppies and the tiger cubs. To her, they were simply babies in need. Under her devoted care, the cubs thrived. They grew stronger each day, their once frail bodies filling out, their eyes brightening with curiosity and playfulness. The bond between the dog and her unusual brood deepened, a testament to the power of unconditional love. Even as the tiger cubs grew much larger than their canine mother, they continued to show her affection. They would playfully pounce on her, their massive paws gentle, and lick her face in a display of trust and gratitude. The golden retriever, undaunted by their size, responded with patience and joy. This interspecies family provided a perfect environment for the cubs to grow, giving them the comfort, socialization, and emotional security that only a mother could provide. The dog's presence helped the cubs learn how to interact, not just with each other, but with the world around them. But the wonders of animal compassion don't end there. An even more striking story comes from an animal park in Oklahoma involving a lion cub named Bone Digger. Bone Digger was born with a metabolic bone disease that left him frail and unable to walk properly. His mother, perhaps sensing his weakness, rejected him, leaving the tiny cub alone and vulnerable. Fearing for his life, the park staff decided to introduce Bone Digger to a most unlikely caregiver, a small dachshund named Milo. The size difference was staggering, but the staff hoped that Milo's gentle nature would offer the cub some comfort. What happened next was nothing short of extraordinary. Milo approached the lion cub with curiosity and kindness, sniffing him gently before curling up beside him, offering warmth and companionship. Milo, along with 2 other dachshunds, immediately took on the role of protectors and companions for Bone Digger. The little dogs would surround the cub, keeping him company and even standing guard as he slept. Milo in particular became Bone Digger's best friend and guardian. Despite the enormous size difference, Milo was fiercely loyal, always by the lion's side, offering comfort and encouragement as Bone Digger struggled to grow stronger. Years passed, and Bone Digger grew into a massive 500-pound adult lion. Yet his bond with the tiny dachshunds remained unbroken. The sight of the enormous lion lounging peacefully with his much smaller friends became a symbol of the power of friendship. Milo and Bone Digger would eat together, play together, and even sleep side by side. Their daily routines were intertwined, their trust in each other absolute. Milo would often be seen cleaning the lion's teeth after a meal, gently licking Bone Digger's mouth, a gesture that spoke volumes about the depth of their bond and the trust that had grown between them. Scientists observing this unique friendship noted that the animals seemed to develop their own shared language, a series of nudges, sounds and body movements that allowed them to communicate and understand each other, despite their differences. This remarkable case taught us that companionship and social bonds are critically important for the well-being of large predators. It showed that these bonds can be formed with the most unexpected of friends, proving that friendship truly knows no size, no species, and no boundaries. In the wild and in our hearts, the need for connection is universal. In December of 2004, a catastrophic tsunami swept across the Indian Ocean, its waves crashing onto the shores of Kenya with unimaginable force. The devastation was immediate and overwhelming. Villages were flooded, coastlines were reshaped, and the delicate balance of life along the shore was shattered. Among the countless victims were not only people, but also the wild creatures who called this place home. Families of animals were torn apart, their habitats destroyed in an instant, leaving many lost and alone in the aftermath. Amidst the chaos and debris, a tiny figure struggled for survival. A baby hippopotamus, barely a year old, was discovered stranded on a muddy riverbank. He was completely alone, his family nowhere to be found, his eyes wide with confusion and fear. The little hippo had been swept away by the raging waters, carried downriver and out to sea, tossed by the waves until, by some miracle, he was washed back onto land. Exhausted, terrified and weak, he collapsed on the wet sand, unable to move. When rescuers found him, they saw a creature on the brink of giving up. They named him Owen. Owen was taken to the Holler Park Wildlife Sanctuary, a place of safety and healing. But the trauma of his ordeal weighed heavily on him. He had lost not only his mother, but his entire pod, the social group that is everything to a young hippo. He wandered the enclosure, calling out for the family that would never return. In the wild, a hippo calf's survival depends entirely on the protection of its mother and the close-knit pod. The mother shields her calf from predators, teaches it how to find food, and keeps it safe in the water. Without this support, a young hippo is vulnerable and alone. For Owen, the world had become a frightening and empty place. The keepers at Holler Park knew they had to act quickly. They prepared a special enclosure for Owen, hoping to provide him with a sense of security. The staff moved gently and patiently, guiding the frightened calf into his new home, doing everything they could to ease his distress. But there was a problem. The only available enclosure that could safely house a hippo was already occupied. Its resident was not known for being sociable or welcoming to newcomers. The enclosure's inhabitant was Mzee, a giant Aldabra tortoise believed to be around 130 years old. Mzee was a living relic, a survivor of centuries, and a creature of habit. Mzee, whose name means old man in Swahili, was a solitary soul. He spent his days basking in the sun, moving slowly through the grass, and enjoying the peace of his quiet corner of the sanctuary. He had never shown any interest in the other animals, preferring his own company above all else. The staff expected that Owen and Mzee would simply ignore each other, each keeping to their own space. After all, what could a baby hippo and an ancient tortoise possibly have in common? But the moment Owen was released into the enclosure, something extraordinary happened. Instead of shying away, the little hippo ran straight to the giant tortoise. He pressed himself close to Mzee, hiding behind the old tortoise as if seeking the protection of a mother. At first, Mzee was far from pleased. The tortoise was used to solitude, and this noisy, energetic newcomer was a disruption. Mzee turned away, trying to escape the hippo's attention, but Owen was undeterred. The old tortoise hissed and lumbered away, but Owen followed him everywhere, desperate for comfort and companionship. The little hippo trailed after Mzee, mimicking his movements, trying to nuzzle up to him and refusing to be left behind. Day after day Owen shadowed Mzee, copying everything the tortoise did. He slept beside him at night, followed him around the enclosure, and even tried to eat what Mzee ate. The bond was one-sided at first, but Owen's persistence was unwavering. In his grief, Owen had chosen the large, grey, slow-moving tortoise as his new parent. He nuzzled Mzee's shell, rested his head on the tortoise's back, and sought every opportunity to be close. For Owen, Mzee became the anchor he so desperately needed. Slowly, something remarkable began to happen. Mzee, the old tortoise who had always kept to himself, started to change. He stopped trying to escape Owen's attention and began to tolerate, then accept, the little hippo's presence. Mzee no longer hissed or tried to move away. Instead, he allowed Owen to rest beside him, to follow him, and even to share his food. The two began to spend more and more time together, their bond deepening with each passing day. What began as a desperate search for comfort became a true friendship. Mzee accepted Owen as his companion, and the two formed an incredible bond, one that defied all expectations and crossed the boundaries of species and age. News of this unlikely friendship spread quickly. Photographers and journalists flocked to Hala Park to witness the remarkable pair. Their story captured the hearts of people around the world, becoming a symbol of hope and healing. Visitors came from far and wide to see Owen and Mzee together. Children pressed their faces to the glass, marvelling at the sight of a hippo and a tortoise side by side. Adults were moved to tears by the story of loss, resilience, and the healing power of friendship. The two became inseparable. They swam together in the pond, ate side by side, and rested together in the shade. Owen would even nudge Mzee gently, as if to check that his friend was still there. Over time, Mzee's attitude shifted from tolerance to protectiveness. He would position himself between Owen and anything he perceived as a threat, acting as a guardian for the young hippo who had chosen him as family. Scientists and animal behaviorists came to study the pair, fascinated by the depth of their bond. What they learned was profound. The need for connection, comfort, and family can transcend species, especially in the wake of trauma. Owen and Mzee's story revealed that after a traumatic loss, the drive to find a parental figure and the comfort of companionship can lead an animal to bond with a completely different species. Their friendship became a living testament to the resilience of the heart. In the end, Owen and Mzee taught the world a lesson that goes far beyond the animal kingdom. Family is not defined by species, age, or appearance. It is defined by love, support, and the willingness to be there for one another. Their friendship, forged in the wake of tragedy, stands as a powerful reminder of the healing power of connection and the extraordinary bonds that can form when we need them most. In the heart of South Africa, nestled among rolling hills and acacia trees, lies the Shamwari Wildlife Rehabilitation Centre, a sanctuary where hope is rekindled for animals in need. Here, another story of loss, resilience, and the healing power of unlikely friendship began to unfold. A baby elephant calf named Themba was discovered wandering alone, his small frame dwarfed by the vast wilderness. His mother had tragically fallen from a cliff, leaving him orphaned and vulnerable. At just 6 months old, Themba was far too young to survive on his own. The loss of his mother and the absence of his herd left him exposed to the dangers of the wild, predators, hunger, and the crushing weight of loneliness. The dedicated team at Shamwari brought Themba to the rehabilitation centre, determined to give him a second chance. They fed him special formula, tended to his wounds, and watched over him day and night. Yet, despite their tireless efforts, Themba's spirit seemed to fade. He refused to eat, his appetite dwindling with each passing day. The little elephant was sinking into a deep depression, mourning the loss of his mother and the comforting presence of his herd. Elephants are among the most social creatures on earth. Their lives revolve around family bonds, shared experiences and constant companionship. For Themba, the crushing loneliness was proving to be as dangerous as starvation. The keepers, desperate to save the young elephant, decided to try something unconventional. They wondered if another living companion, no matter how different, could help fill the void left by Themba's lost family. Into Themba's enclosure they introduced a new companion, a domestic sheep named Albert. Albert was calm, gentle and unassuming, a stark contrast to the grieving, powerful young elephant. The hope was that Albert's steady presence might offer comfort to the lonely calf, providing a sense of companionship and routine. At first the plan seemed to be failing. Themba showed little interest in the sheep, ignoring him or keeping his distance. In fact, Themba was wary of the strange, woolly creature. He even charged at Albert, unsure of what to make of this new presence in his world. Albert, for his part, was understandably nervous around the much larger and unpredictable baby elephant. The two orphans, both grieving in their own way, seemed destined to remain alone together. For a time they kept their distance, two lonely souls sharing a space, but not a connection. The keepers watched anxiously, hoping for a breakthrough. But slowly, day by day, things began to change. Themba's curiosity, a spark of his old self, began to overcome his grief. He started to watch Albert more closely, following his movements and observing his routines. Soon, Themba began to follow Albert around the enclosure, mimicking his actions and seeking out his company. Albert, sensing that the little elephant meant him no harm, gradually relaxed. The two began to share moments of tentative trust, small gestures that spoke volumes. Before long, Themba and Albert became inseparable. Where one went, the other followed. They ate side by side, shared their food, and even invented their own games, chasing each other around the enclosure or simply resting together in the shade. Albert, the sheep, had become Themba's constant companion and, in a way, his shepherd, guiding him through the darkness of grief toward the light of recovery. For the first time since his rescue, Themba began to eat properly, his appetite returning as his spirits lifted. He showed interest in his surroundings, exploring and playing with renewed energy. The friendship between Themba and Albert had saved the young elephant's life. Their bond was a living testament to the healing power of companionship. The remarkable relationship between Themba and Albert provided scientists and caregivers with invaluable insights into the treatment of trauma in young social animals. It challenged assumptions and inspired new approaches to animal rehabilitation. Their story demonstrated that companionship, even from a completely different species, can be a powerful antidote to grief and loneliness. It showed that the need for connection transcends boundaries, both natural and artificial. Albert provided the social interaction and comfort that Themba so desperately needed to heal. Their friendship became a beacon of hope for all who witnessed it. Their journey together is a moving testament to the idea that friendship can be found in the most unexpected places, and that love and support can come from the most unlikely of friends. The story of Themba and Albert reminds us that the need to connect with another living being is a fundamental drive, one that can help heal the deepest wounds, restore hope, and bring light back to a life once shrouded in sadness. Their bond, forged in adversity, continues to inspire all who hear it. The stories we have explored throughout this journey, stretching from the mysterious depths of the ocean to the sun-drenched plains of the African savannah, are far more than just heartwarming anecdotes. They are profound, living illustrations of a truth that echoes across the entire animal kingdom. The capacity for kindness, empathy, and connection is not the sole domain of humans. It is a thread that weaves through the lives of countless creatures, great and small, in ways both subtle and spectacular. Consider the extraordinary sight of a lioness, a creature shaped by millennia of predatory instinct, gently mothering an oryx calf. In the vast grasslands where the laws of nature seem so rigid, this act of compassion stands out as a beacon of hope. The lioness, Kamunyak, defies every expectation, cradling the vulnerable calf with a tenderness that transcends the boundaries of species and instinct. In her we witness the raw power of empathy, a force strong enough to override the most deeply ingrained behaviours. Or look to the gentle giant, the gorilla, who grieves for a tiny kitten lost. In the gorilla's expressive eyes we see sorrow, longing and love, emotions that mirror our own. This is not a fleeting curiosity, but a deep, genuine bond, a connection that endures even in the face of loss. The gorilla's mourning is a testament to the emotional complexity that exists within the animal world, challenging us to reconsider what we think we know about the hearts and minds of other species. And then there is the remarkable friendship between a tortoise and a hippo, Owen and Mzee. When a young hippo, orphaned and alone after a devastating tsunami, found himself in unfamiliar territory, it was an elderly tortoise who stepped in as a surrogate parent. Their bond, forged in the aftermath of tragedy, blossomed into a partnership that defied every expectation. These are not mere anomalies or curiosities. They are powerful, living expressions of empathy, companionship and love, forces that can defy instinct and bridge the widest of species divides. They reveal the deep and complex emotional lives of animals, urging us to see them not as simple creatures of instinct, but as fellow beings with rich inner worlds and the capacity for profound connection. Each of these unlikely bonds, from the savannah to the rainforest, from the riverbank to the open sea, teaches us something vital about the nature of life on our planet. They show us that the need for family, for protection, and for simple companionship is a universal drive shared by all living things. A golden retriever's motherly instinct is so powerful that it can embrace a tiger cub, nurturing it as her own, blurring the lines between predator and prey, domestic and wild. In the vast blue expanse of the ocean, a lonely dolphin finds acceptance and belonging among a pod of giant whales. Despite their differences in size, language and even biology, the dolphin is welcomed, protected and loved. These relationships demonstrate a remarkable flexibility in animal behavior, showing that in the right circumstances, learning and emotion can triumph over ingrained programming. They remind us that survival is not always about competition or dominance. Sometimes it is about cooperation, connection, and the willingness to embrace the unfamiliar. These accounts should fill us with a sense of wonder and hope. In a world that can often seem divided and harsh, these animals offer a pure and simple lesson. They show us that differences in size, shape or species do not have to be barriers to connection. They model a form of acceptance that is unconditional and profound, a willingness to care for another simply because they are in need. The gentle care of Coco, the gorilla, for her kitten, the steadfast friendship of Owen and Mzee, and the protective love of Kamunyak for her adopted calf, these are stories that speak a language everyone can understand. The steadfast friendship of Owen and Mzee, forged in the aftermath of disaster, is a testament to the healing power of companionship. Their story reminds us that even in the darkest of times, connection can bring light and hope. The protective love of Kamunyak, the lioness, for her adopted oryx calf, is a living example of compassion that transcends the boundaries of nature. Her actions speak a language that everyone can understand, a language of care, protection, and unconditional love. It is the universal language of compassion, a force that nurtures, heals, and creates families in the most unexpected of ways. As we continue to study and learn from the natural world, let us carry these stories in our hearts. Let them inspire us to look for the connections that bind us all together, both within our own species and with the countless other creatures who share our world. The wild is indeed a place of struggle, of survival against the odds, but it is also a place of surprising tenderness and grace. These unlikely friendships are a beautiful and powerful reminder that the instinct to care for another, to offer comfort in times of need, is one of nature's most enduring and hopeful miracles. In the end, perhaps the greatest lesson the animal kingdom can teach us is that compassion knows no boundaries, and that the bonds we form, no matter how unlikely, are what truly make life on Earth so extraordinary. Gap 2S. As we reflect on these remarkable stories, we are reminded that the animal kingdom is not just a realm of survival and instinct, but a living tapestry of empathy and unexpected alliances. Each act of kindness, each cross-species bond, shapes the world in subtle but profound ways, rippling across generations, leaving a legacy of compassion that endures long after the moment has passed. Consider the story of a young elephant who, after losing her mother, is embraced by an older matriarch from a neighbouring herd. The matriarch, herself a survivor of hardship, leads the orphan to water, shields her from danger, and gently guides her through the rituals of elephant life. In these quiet moments of mentorship, we see the deep wisdom of the wild, an understanding that to nurture another is to strengthen the whole. High above the forest floor, a family of gibbons welcomes an injured hornbill, offering sanctuary and food until its wings heal. Though their songs and ways are different, the gibbon's acceptance grants the hornbill a second chance at life. Their shared canopy becomes a haven, echoing with the sounds of improbable friendship. In the icy waters of the Arctic, a beluga whale is seen guiding a lost narwhal, far from its own kind. The beluga pod adopts the solitary narwhal, swimming in synchrony and sharing the safety of numbers. Their trust grows with every shared dive, a silent pact of belonging in the vast expanse of the sea. These stories, unfolding daily in the hidden corners of our planet, reveal a truth as enduring as the mountains and as fluid as the rivers. Compassion is a force that knows no borders. It is a lesson offered freely by the wild, one that invites us to look beyond differences, to nurture the vulnerable, and to build bridges where none existed before. As we witness these acts of kindness, let us remember that every creature, no matter how small or different, has the capacity to give and receive care. The wild teaches us that connection is not a weakness but a strength, a thread that binds all life together in a shared journey of survival, learning and hope. In carrying these lessons forward, we honour the wisdom of the natural world. We become, in our own way, custodians of compassion, ready to recognize the extraordinary in the everyday and to celebrate the gentle miracles that make life on Earth so wondrous. Gap 3S. For in the end, it is not only the survival of the fittest that shapes the destiny of our world, but the survival of the kindest. And in that kindness, all creatures, great and small, find their place, their purpose, and their peace. To Gap 2S. As dawn breaks over the savannah, a herd of zebras moves cautiously toward a watering hole watched over by a vigilant giraffe. The giraffe, towering above the grasslands, signals with a gentle nod, warning of a distant predator. The zebras heed the silent message, their trust in this unlikely sentinel forged through seasons of shared survival. Across the world, in a lush South American rainforest, a troop of capuchin monkeys gathers fallen fruit and leaves some behind for shy tapirs who emerge only after dusk. The monkeys' small act of sharing ensures that the tapirs too find sustenance, weaving an invisible thread of interdependence through the heart of the forest. In the coral reefs below sunlit waves, cleaner fish tend to wounded sea turtles, delicately removing parasites while larger fish wait their turn. These moments of mutual benefit are not mere transactions, they are gestures of trust, building an ecosystem where all thrive together. From the tallest trees to the deepest seas, the wild is a mosaic of kindness, Each act, no matter how small, radiating outward and touching lives unseen. These ripples of compassion travel far beyond the moment, shaping the destinies of creatures who may never meet, but whose lives are forever intertwined. In the language of the wild, generosity is never wasted. It is carried forward, through generations, across distances and between species, reminding us that every gentle act leaves a mark on the world. As we listen to the quiet symphony of these connections, we are invited to see the natural world not as a battleground, but as a community, one where kindness is as vital as air and water. For in the wild, the smallest ripple can become a wave of hope, ensuring that life in all its forms endures and flourishes. Gap 3S. Gap 2S. High above the earth, the sky is a realm of its own, where the dance of the wind guides the lives of many. In the craggy cliffs of the Himalayas, a pair of snow leopards rest, their keen eyes watching over a family of mountain goats grazing nearby. The leopards, apex predators, choose to remain unseen. Their presence a silent assurance of balance in this lofty ecosystem. Their restraint allows the goats to thrive, ensuring the delicate harmony of life at the roof of the world. Far across the globe, in the dense forests of the Amazon, harpy eagles soar majestically above the canopy. With powerful wings and sharp talons, they are feared hunters, yet they play a crucial role in maintaining the health of the forest. By preying on the weak and the sick, they ensure the strength and vitality of the species they hunt, an act of compassion masked by the harshness of survival. Down in the vast plains of Africa, vultures circle the skies, their keen eyesight scanning the ground for signs of life and death. Often misunderstood, these scavengers are nature's clean-up crew, preventing the spread of disease by consuming carrion. Their role is indispensable, a testament to the interconnectedness of all creatures, where even death serves a purpose in the grand design of life. Above the azure waters of the Pacific, albatrosses glide effortlessly, their long wings catching the ocean breeze. These birds, known for their lifelong monogamous bonds, travel vast distances, their journeys a symbol of endurance and fidelity. In their travels, they guide lost seabirds back to their colonies, a quiet act of navigation that ensures the survival of many. From the highest peaks to the open skies, these guardians of the air embody a unique form of compassion, one that transcends the boundaries of predator and prey, life and death. In their silent watchfulness, they remind us that every being has a role to play in the tapestry of life. Their actions, though often unseen, create ripples that shape the world in profound ways. As we look to the skies, we are reminded that compassion knows no bounds, and that even the fiercest creatures can be gentle guardians of their realm. Gap 3S. Beneath the shimmering surface of the world's oceans lies a realm just as wondrous as the skies above, a place where compassion takes on new and unexpected forms. In the twilight depths, pods of sperm whales travel together, their massive bodies gliding silently through the blue expanse. When one member falls ill or becomes entangled in drifting nets, the pod's journey halts. The whales form a protective circle, taking turns to support their struggling companion, refusing to leave anyone behind. Their deep, resonant clicks echo through the water, a language of empathy and reassurance, binding the group in a silent promise of solidarity. Not far away, in the tangled forests of coral reefs, cleaner fish and shrimp perform their gentle rituals. Larger fish approach, pausing in anticipation as the tiny cleaners dart in and out, removing parasites and dead skin. This delicate exchange is more than a transaction. It's a daily act of trust, a silent pact that crosses the boundaries between hunter and helper. Even the formidable moray eel, jaws bristling with teeth, opens wide and allows the cleaner wrasse to venture inside, surrendering for a moment to the care of another. Deeper still, the mysterious octopus demonstrates a quiet intelligence, crafting shelters from shells and rocks, sometimes sharing these safe havens with passing crabs or fish seeking refuge from predators. In the darkness, bioluminescent jellyfish drift serenely, their gentle glow lighting the way for tiny creatures lost in the vastness of the deep. Each action, however small, weaves a thread of compassion through the fabric of ocean life. Here, in the silent blue world, survival is not just about competition, but about cooperation, empathy, and mutual respect. The guardians of the deep remind us that even in the most remote and alien places, compassion endures, unseen but ever present, shaping life in ways both subtle and profound. Hidden beneath the lush canopies of the world's forests, another quiet drama of compassion unfolds. Here ancient trees stretch their limbs skyward, but their real magic happens below the surface. Entwined in a vast web of roots and fungi, the wood-wide web connects tree to tree, allowing them to share not only nutrients, but also warnings of danger. When a sapling is shaded and struggling, older trees channel life-giving sugars through underground fungal threads, nurturing the next generation even as they compete for sunlight. Above ground, unlikely friendships blossom. A herd of deer pauses at a patch of wildflowers, watched over by a vigilant crow. If danger approaches, the crow's sharp call sends the deer bounding to safety, a simple act of interspecies understanding. In another corner, a family of wild boars uncovers edible roots, leaving scraps for passing birds and small mammals. Squirrels, ever the opportunist, plant seeds as they bury nuts for winter, unintentionally sowing future forests for creatures yet to come. Even the stoic ants marching in endless lines display moments of altruism. When a member of their colony is injured, others rush to help, carrying their wounded comrade back to the nest for care. In these ancient woodlands, every act of kindness ripples outward, weaving a tapestry of survival built not just on strength but on cooperation and silent generosity. Within the forest's shade, compassion is not a human invention. It is a secret language spoken by roots, wings, paws and hooves, echoing through the dappled light and reminding us that empathy is as old as the trees themselves. Beneath the shimmering surface of the open ocean, a different kind of compassion flows with the tides. Here, vast schools of fish move as one, a living tapestry of synchronized motion. When a predator approaches, the group's unity becomes a shield. Stronger fish instinctively encircle the weak and injured, offering them a chance to slip away in the chaos. Elsewhere, sea turtles glide gracefully along ancient migratory routes. Sometimes a young turtle, lost or disoriented, finds itself trailing behind. In these moments, older turtles slow their pace, subtly guiding the youngster back into the safety of the group's current. A silent gesture of guidance passed down through generations. Among the coral reefs, cleaner fish perform their delicate dance, tending to the wounds and scales of larger sea creatures. In return for their service, they receive food and protection, a mutual partnership that keeps the reef's community thriving. Even octopuses, often solitary by nature, have been seen sharing dens with other marine animals during dangerous storms, offering shelter in times of need. In the deep blue, acts of empathy and alliance are not rare. They are woven into the very heart of ocean life. The currents carry more than water. They carry stories of care, connection, and the unspoken promise that survival is a shared journey. In this vast underwater world, compassion is as boundless as the sea itself. In the icy expanse of the Arctic, where survival is a daily challenge, compassion finds its own expression among the inhabitants of the frozen world. Beneath the shimmering northern lights, herds of musk oxen form tight defensive circles, their powerful bodies shielding the youngest and weakest from prowling wolves and bitter winds. Each animal takes its place with silent purpose, knowing that their unity is their greatest shield against the harsh elements. Nearby, a pod of beluga whales navigates treacherous ice flows. When a calf becomes trapped in a narrowing channel, older whales gather around, using their bodies to gently nudge and guide the youngster toward open water. Their melodic calls echo beneath the ice, a language of reassurance and encouragement that binds the pod together. On the snow-laden tundra, Arctic foxes display a rare camaraderie. Though solitary by habit, during the darkest winter months they may share abandoned dens, huddling together for warmth and safety. Even rival foxes put aside their differences, recognizing that in the heart of winter, cooperation can mean the difference between life and death. Above, flocks of snow geese fly in perfect V formations, taking turns at the front to break the wind. When one bird grows weary, another seamlessly takes its place, ensuring that no member is left behind. Their journey across the endless white sky is a testament to the power of collective endurance. In this frozen wilderness, where every day is a test of resilience, the bonds of survival are built not just on strength, but on acts of quiet empathy. Here, compassion is the warmth that endures even in the coldest places on earth, a silent promise that no creature truly faces the Arctic alone. In the vast, sun-baked stretches of the world's deserts, compassion emerges in unexpected ways, woven into the very fabric of survival beneath relentless heat and shifting sands. Here, life clings to every drop of water and every moment of reprieve, and the creatures that call these arid lands home have learned that survival is often a shared endeavour. As the golden sun climbs high, a caravan of dromedary camels presses on across the dunes. When a weary calf falters, the herd slows its pace, older camels forming a protective barrier around the youngster. Their shadows offer precious shade, and their gentle nudges urge the calf onward. In these moments the herd moves as one, each member attuned to the needs of the others, teaching the youngest that to belong is to be cared for. Beneath a solitary acacia, a family of meerkats stands sentinel. Their eyes scan for danger, not just for themselves, but for the entire colony. When a warning call rings out, the group springs into action, adults guiding pups to safety in underground tunnels, while others bravely distract the threat above. Their teamwork is an unspoken promise. Every member matters, every life is worth protecting. In the cool of twilight, a rare gathering unfolds at a shrinking desert oasis. Diverse species, gazelles, sandgrouse and fennec foxes, pause their rivalries to share the life-giving water. For a brief moment, the boundaries between predator and prey blur, replaced by a silent truce born of mutual need. Even the smallest creatures, like beetles and lizards, find shelter in the shade of others, each life connected by the fragile thread of mercy. Through shifting sands and scorching winds, the creatures of the desert reveal a simple truth. Compassion is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of unity. In every shared shade, every warning call, and every pause at a precious oasis, the desert's inhabitants teach us that survival is not just an individual journey, but a collective triumph, a testament to the enduring power of kindness, even in the harshest places on earth. Beneath the lush emerald canopy of the rainforest, compassion takes root in the shadows and flourishes with every drop of rain. Here, life is a symphony of colours and calls, where every creature from the smallest insect to the largest primate plays a vital part in the harmony of survival. In the dappled light, a troop of capuchin monkeys navigates the tangled branches, their movements agile and purposeful. When a young monkey slips and cries out, the troop responds instantly. Older siblings and even unrelated adults circle back, extending careful hands and gentle reassurance. Their collective care ensures no one is left behind. a living web of support in a world where danger can come from above or below. Lower down, a pair of scarlet macaws perch side by side, their vibrant feathers glowing against the green. As afternoon rains begin to fall, they huddle together, wings overlapping to shield a third, weaker bird from the chill. In this simple act, protection is freely given and warmth is shared, echoing through the trees. On the forest floor, a tiny tree frog finds itself stranded on a leaf, surrounded by rising floodwaters. Sensing its distress, a passing army of leafcutter ants pauses. Though the frog is not one of their own, a few ants form a living bridge, their bodies linking to create a path to safety. It is a fleeting alliance born not from kinship, but from an unspoken understanding that every life has value. As twilight descends, fireflies begin to glow, signalling to one another in rhythmic pulses. Their lights synchronize, illuminating the undergrowth and guiding lost moths and beetles back to familiar ground. Each flicker is a beacon of hope, a silent promise that even the smallest creatures can light the way for others. Within the rainforest's embrace, compassion is a thread that weaves through every layer, binding the diverse inhabitants in moments of empathy and aid. In this world of towering trees and endless green, the bonds of kindness prove as enduring as the ancient roots that hold the forest together, reminding us that even in nature's most intricate realms, compassion is the heart of survival. Above the clouds, where jagged peaks cut into the sky and the air grows thin, a different world of compassion unfolds, one shaped by resilience and unity. In these lofty highlands, life is a daily test of endurance, yet even here empathy finds a foothold among the rocks and snow. On a narrow ledge, a herd of Himalayan tahr navigates the steep terrain. When a youngling stumbles, the herd halts. An elder tahr circles back, nudging the little one gently with its muzzle, guiding it step by step to safer ground. The group waits patiently, their silent solidarity a reminder that survival is not a solitary pursuit, but a shared journey. Higher still, a snow leopard mother patrols her territory. She pauses, noticing the plaintive bleats of a young blue sheep separated from its flock by a sudden rockfall. The leopard, driven by a rare moment of understanding, stands guard instead of attacking, allowing the lamb time to find a path back to its kin before silently melting away into the mist. Nearby, a flock of alpine choughs rides the cold updrafts. When the wind turns fierce, the birds cluster tightly on a sheltered crag, making space for a lone, exhausted stranger. Their wings overlap, sharing warmth and protection, their soft calls echoing through the thin air. As dusk paints the mountains in hues of violet and gold, a marmot family emerges from their burrow. One marmot stands sentry, chirping a warning at the distant shadow of an eagle. The others shepherd the youngest and weakest to safety, their vigilance a quiet pledge to safeguard each other against the ever-present dangers. In these remote heights, where every heartbeat is hard-won, compassion is the invisible rope that binds creatures together. Here, amid stone and sky, acts of kindness ripple across species and generations, proof that even in the harshest places the spirit of care endures, shaping the mountain's story of survival. Under the vast open skies of the African savannah, a world teeming with life unfolds in a delicate balance of predator and prey, struggle and survival. Yet, amidst this rugged dance, moments of unexpected harmony arise, showcasing the deep-rooted compassion that exists even here. As dawn breaks, a herd of elephants makes its way across the golden plains, their massive silhouettes moving in unison. At the rear, a young calf stumbles, its legs still unsteady. The matriarch pauses, turning back with a gentle rumble. She extends her trunk, offering support and encouragement. The other elephants form a protective circle, their presence a shield against any lurking danger, demonstrating that in the herd every member is cherished. On the edge of a watering hole, a solitary giraffe lowers its long neck to drink. Nearby, a group of zebras nervously eyes the water, wary of hidden crocodiles. The giraffe senses their hesitation and, in an act of silent understanding, remains by the water's edge, its towering presence a deterrent. The zebras, reassured, step forward, quenching their thirst under the watchful eye of their unexpected guardian. In the heat of the midday sun, a coalition of cheetahs rests in the shade of an acacia tree. Not far away, a warthog family digs for roots. The cheetahs, sensing no immediate need for a hunt, allow the warthogs to forage in peace. An unspoken truce forms, a brief respite in the relentless cycle of life and death on the savannah. As evening falls, a pride of lions gathers for a communal meal. A young lioness, injured from a recent hunt, struggles to find her place. An older lion nudges her forward, ensuring she has access to the food. The pride's unity is evident, their bonds of kinship and care vital for their survival. Above, a flock of storks soars gracefully, their long migrations a testament to endurance and cooperation. When one stork falters, the others adjust their formation, allowing it to rest within the safety of the group. Their synchronized flight is a symbol of collective strength, each bird contributing to the journey's success. In the twilight, as the savannah settles into a serene hush, the interconnectedness of its inhabitants becomes clear. Through acts of kindness and mutual aid, the creatures of the plains reveal that even in a land defined by survival, compassion is a guiding force. Here, under the endless expanse of the African sky, the spirit of the savannah thrives, a testament to the enduring power of empathy in the animal kingdom.